Hi to all my friends at the Hermitage. So it's Mary, and we're ready to make another painting this week. So I thought that we would do a nice little floral painting. So here's the sample that we'll use today, and I'll be painting along with you. I think that you might be able to see that I'm reusing a canvas here that I had started something on and never made progress. So I'll be using this today to paint on. And it should take us about maybe 45 minutes to do our flower painting. And the first thing I'm going to start with is showing you the palette. I hope that you can see this. Whatever colors you choose are fine. I'm using a couple of shades of pink and red. I've got some blue for the background and some green and aqua, white, of course, for highlights, and then some blue and purple for the darker spots on the vase, and then a couple shades of yellow for these nice little highlights and flowers. So you can stop the video here if you want and make sure you've got all the paint that you need, but I'm going to keep on going. And the first thing that I'll do is use this big old brush, and I'm going to put the blue background in here first, and then get started on sketching in the vase. And we'll do the background flowers first, and then the last thing we'll do are these really big fun flowers right here. So get your everything you need together, three brushes, a large, medium, and a small. Get your paints, and let's do a flower painting. So I'm just going to take this blue and my big brush and just start to fill in this background here. And it doesn't have to be a solid color. You can mix in some white and some darker blue, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to let this blue sort of stay there and just kind of start putting the idea of the white of the vase in here, since I already have this blue on here from the painting I didn't finish. I know everyone at the Hermitage is very thrifty with their paint supplies, so I think they'll like the idea of painting over something. So I've just very roughly got this place for the vase in, and I'll take a little bit of this darker blue and just start to create the idea of the blue that's going to be down here at the bottom, which is sort of a nice little design. We'll put some flowers over the top of it. Get it a little darker down at the bottom. Okay, that's enough of that. I just want to make sure we're recording okay, and we are. And so let me get some more blue and a little white, and again, I'm just adding what needs to be added to kind of cover up what I already had in the background. And notice how the lighter color is sort of creating the edge of the vase over here. And we'll add a little bit of this up here at the top. We've got a little white here, be sort of the lip of our vase. And I'll come back and add some more white to that. That takes a bit more work to cover it up since it already had the blue underneath there. And if you want, you can go ahead and start to put the idea of the flowers down here on the vase while that paint is wet underneath it. And however your flowers look is absolutely fine. They don't have to look like the one I'm doing. Okay, but that's a nice starting spot. So if you've got the blue background in, then we can wash our brush, and we're going to start to put some of the pink and the yellow in here. So I'm going to head over. Sorry, I had to walk in front of you and get a slightly smaller brush. And I'll get some of my pink paint. I'll put just a little bit of white in it. And start to add that. And one of the things that makes this painting so much fun is that it has a lot of energy. So there's a lot of diagonal strokes that are going on here. So I want to make sure that you do that as well and get that nice energy. And again, it doesn't have to look like mine, but you do want to get the diagonal in here. I've got a little yellow there now. So we have the idea of flowers in the background here, but we can't necessarily see the exact flower, but certainly the idea of it. Let's get some of the darker colors that are in the very central part. I've already got the yellow on my brush here, so let me get rid of a little bit more of that. And let me get some more white too here. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of orange out too, because there's some areas that have sort of a peachy look to them. So I'm going to make sure that we get some of that peachy color. And then let me get some more white, which I've left right here. And I'm really not cleaning my brush right now because all these pastel colors, they're fine. They're just going to kind of blend into each other. So I'm getting some of the peach here and kind of changing the angle of my brush stroke too. But just getting a lot of energy going here. And maybe a little bit of lighter color. We're going to add some green there too. And back covering up some of this paint that I had left from the last time I used this canvas. A little bit more of the peachy color down here. There we go. So we're really starting to get the idea of these flowers kind of hanging over the side of the vase. Let's get rid of a little bit of what's on my brush here. And then I'll pick up some darker colors. Okay, let me just kind of wash this off here. So we're gonna now put the darker areas of color in here. I'm gonna use some purple and blue, whatever you want to use, whatever dark color is absolutely fine. And then just sort of wherever you want to pat this color in. And we can add a little green. It's important to have contrast in your painting. So that's what we're doing by creating the dark in the middle, is really getting the idea of the contrast. And again, I'm not making any kind of definitive brush stroke. I'm just sort of tapping the paint on, and then we'll paint over parts of this as we add some highlights. Get a little bit of the darker color coming down the side here. Okay, so we've got some nice dark contrasting colors there. I'm going to try to mix up something that's kind of a maybe a aqua blue, but a darker color, and just put a few little pats of that here and there. And then starting to add maybe a little bit of the green too. A little bit of foliage, these leaves in here. And we've got a little bit coming down the side of our vase. Just let those little leafy kind of things come down the side here. And maybe a few more over here. Just trying to make sure that we have some color as a nice backdrop or base. I'm going to pick up a smaller brush now and a little bit of white and start to add some white in here. This is going to be especially important for me since I'm painting over something that was already darker. So I've got a little bit of white here, and I'm just going to start to create that idea of kind of a lip to that face. And I've got just a little bit of this peachy color that we used up here, so I'm putting a little bit of that in the vase here. Let's get those darker little lines in here. So I've got the purple and the blue here. And just kind of add those in. And we don't want those to be straight. We want them to be a little bit curved. Just getting this a little bit darker in here. And then we'll add just a few little these darker kind of odd shapes here. So your lines on the vase don't have to look exactly like this, but try to make sure you get a darker color. It's a nice contrast there. There we go. So we've got the idea of a little design there. Okay, I'm going to get my middle-sized brush back. We'll give a little time for that to dry, and then I can always put a few more highlights in there. And I still have a little bit of this blue-gray color. I'll just add. And a few more little green spots here. So however much detail you want to put in the background, it's up to you, of course. So I'm going to wash my brush again and then get started with these delightful little yellow flowers here. And then lastly, we'll put in these nice big rose-looking flowers. So I'm going to start with, I've got a little bit of a darker yellow here. So I'll start with that and kind of look for some areas here that could use a little petal. I know we had a flower down here. So I'm just kind of tapping those in. And then we can come back and put more highlighted areas on them. Last time I painted this, I actually got some paint on my fingers and started putting the flowers on with my fingers, which I think is a fun idea. And again, put flowers wherever you want. Put as many flowers as you want. Yours doesn't have to look like mine. It'll still be a very fun piece. Adding a little bit of the darker pink in here too. Okay, so maybe we'll add a little bit of white, but we'll do that after we get these big flowers in. So I've got kind of a purple color, magenta. I'm just going to put a couple of the idea of maybe some little seed pods in here. Green in here. So let's let that dry for a moment and go ahead and get started on our big flowers over here. So we're going to need a nice range of motion here. We're going to really enjoy making the circles with the paint here. So I've got a bit of the lightest color pink. And again, whatever colors that you want to use. Get a nice kind of circular motion going there. I think I'm going to actually switch brushes. I've got a brush which I'm not sure, I don't think that in the art room anyway at the Hermitage you have a brush just like this, but it's kind of got a tapered edge to it. So I think I'm going to use this to do my flowers. But whatever brush that you use will be absolutely fine. So let me get some more of the lighter colored pink on here. And again, I'm going to really get a nice circular motion going there. And of course I need more white. I keep having to have more white. We're going to let that come all the way down to this dark area that we created here. You could use a palette knife on this as well if you wanted to try to get this in. I think I do a little better just with the motion of the brush. And I've got a little bit of this darker color I'm going to add to the center, and a little bit of red. Let's get a little more dark color in the center there. Okay, so we've got the idea of our flower there. I'm going to add a little bit of even darker color in the center of the little flower here. Maybe that needs a little purple even. Get it even a little darker. We want a lot of nice contrast in this painting. Okay, I think that's nice. All right, and let's do the same thing down below. We'll take some of the pink, kind of create this second flower down here. I got a little purpley, so I'm putting a little orange in there too. Let me see if I can get just a little bit of a peachy color in down here too. And that can come down here. Putting a little orange up here where we put those little seed kind of things here. Okay, so now we get to add the highlights. We're going to add some white and some of this lighter yellow in. Oops, I was knocked it over. Okay, so I cleaned my brush. I think I got most of the pink off of that, and let me pick up some of the white here and start to add the idea of some of these highlights. And again, get that, maybe my brush wasn't as clean as it needed to be. That might be one of those happy accidents that Bob Ross talks so much about. Let me get some fresh white, and I'll wipe my brush off a little bit better here. And then we're just going to have fun putting some white highlights in here. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Wherever you want to put a little white. And it can add some texture to it. Don't worry if it's not like totally smooth. That's okay. And don't be too tentative about it. You want to have fun with this and really move. Oops, did you see that? I just had a happy accident there for sure. Put some white in the center, but that's okay. We were going to go back over and put some white in the center anyway, so there's no harm done there. And let's go down here and do the same. And I'll give myself a little bit more white. Those flowers are looking nice, aren't they? Starting to really pop. So I hope that you've enjoyed doing this. I know I have. And I hope everyone tries it. And the great thing about the video is you can slow it down and look at it as much as you want. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more white here and there, which calls for another brush wash. And then the last thing we'll do is just put little dots of whatever dark color you want to use to give those flowers the idea of a center, those cute little yellow flowers that we put in. So just, you know, add a few, wherever you want them, just a few white highlights here. You see how that really makes the contrast come up a few notches and just makes it really interesting. Maybe the idea of some kind of little white thing hanging down here. And then we've got just a little bit of yellow on here. I'm going to give another little highlight here with the yellow. Such pretty pastel colors. And a little bit more down here. Okay, well, I think this is about what we have time for. We're just going to take a little bit of that dark paint and give ourselves some centers here to the flowers. And then I think that'll be all we're going to do on this particular video. I hope that a lot of people get to paint and enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to being back at the Hermitage when everything is safe for me to do that. We want to keep everyone healthy. Alrighty, I've got a small brush now. I'm just going to take some, I've got the dark purple, I think I'll just use that, and I've got a little bit on the end of this brush, and I'm just going to add the center to a few of these flowers. Again, it's just a way of having a little more contrast. And there we go. We've got a nice flower painting. Very cute. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. It's been wonderful painting with you, and I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope to see you soon. Take care, all my Hermitage friends. I'll see you next week, or maybe it'll be the week after. Bye bye.